welcome to tonight's town board meeting for January 15th, 2019. If we could start by standing for the pledge. Bob, you wanna lead us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll turn it over to you, Jim.
Yes, keeping with tradition, with the invocation, we ask for our faith community to step forward, and we're pleased to have with us the Reverend Jerry Halpin from the North Shore Christian Church, right on Cromer Avenue in Riverhead with us this evening.
Would you bow your heads for a word of prayer? Father God, we thank you so much for this room and the people in here, and those with whom they represent. Lord, we thank you for our elected leaders. We thank you for the wisdom and the guidance that they share with us. We pray that you continue to give them the wisdom to make the decisions needed, to hear, to listen, and to know. Lord, as each one of us in this town represent different people, different lives in our homes, we thank you for the men and women that serve and protect us, from our fire departments to our first responders to our police officers. We thank you for the lives that they go home to. And may each of them return home tonight and tomorrow with safety. God, as the words that are spoken tonight in this room at times seem contentious, may they be ever so sweetened by our leaders. May they be responded upon, may they listen to. And God, may you give each of our leaders wisdom to make decisions, grace to accept what they've done, and foresight to see the future of the greatest town on the east end of Long Island. May you bless the rest of this time. And Lord, one last thing that we ask, may you continue to bless each and one of us with grace and forgiveness that only you can give. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Halpin.
I like the greatest town comment.
I know, that's what I was gonna comment on that. At this time, can I have a first and second for approval of the minutes of January 3rd, 2019 from 2 p.m.?
I move that we approve the minutes of January 3rd.
I'll second.
First and seconded vote, please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
I'm going to abstain, I wasn't here for the meeting.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
The minutes are approved. Okay, you want me to just go into?
Go ahead into reports and then I'll do
Okay,
announcements.
okay.
You can do reports and correspondence.
Okay. Under reports, tax receiver, total tax collection to date as of January 2nd, $16,666,358.21. Tax receiver, total tax collection to date as of January 9th, $47,244,936.79. The Riverhead Police Department submitted their December 2018 monthly report. Under correspondence, we had a letter from Carol Gorman, who is opposing 5-story buildings in the downtown area. A letter from George Moravec, also opposing 5-story buildings in the downtown area. And I did have 2 additional letters after I had posted the agenda, also for the same issue. One from Dee Martin opposing those 5-story buildings, and another from Barbara Vale. She also is opposing those 5-story buildings in the downtown area. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. So just a couple announcements. We've been trying to get the word out. We've been, have signs up, but I just want just a safety advisory. So, please be advised that the town of Riverhead shotgun hunting, for deer program at EPCAL began on January 7th of this year and will terminate on January 31st of this year. So from January 7th through January 31st, the town-owned property at EPCAL, including the recreational path, will be closed to the public in the interest of safety. So I please ask everybody to heed those warnings. We are posted out there, we have signs up there, but just to notify your neighbor if you know anybody that has not heard about it at this point. Also the town, as we have been going through our downtown zoning, and we call it our DC1 district, our zoning for downtown, we will be holding our downtown zoning forum for the public on January 31st, right here in this room at 6 p.m. So we ask anybody who would like to come and make some comments to the town board to please attend that meeting that day. As you can see from the correspondence, we have also had people writing in letters. If somebody wants to send a letter, they can send a letter into Diane Wilhelm at the town clerk's office, either by mail or by email also. And once again, we just remind everybody to sign up for e-notifications. You can do that on the town website, and you will be notified by email of any upcoming meetings, their agendas, and other town events. Just go to, the Town of Riverhead ny.gov, and you can sign up there for the email notifications. You can also select which notifications you would like to, receive, so you don't have to receive all of them. Yep, and also, if you have any trouble, you can call through to the clerk's office, and they will walk you through the details of how to do that. Okay, at this point, we will move on to our public hearings. The first of our public hearings was to, just have to pull this up here. The first of our public hearings was to take place at 6:05. It is now 6:10. And this is to amend chapter 301 entitled Zoning and Land Development of the Riverhead Town Code. Do you want Jeff to review what this is? So you could
I'll
okay.
go through it. This is really just a bit of a cleanup and then, one change to, section 301-5 of the, zoning ordinance. And what it does is it, eliminates, it's striking some of the, zoning use districts, but essentially we're adding, at the end of the day, a few districts that were overlooked during the, update in the zoning, comprehensive plan update. The other thing it's doing is, since they were not in this order, we've eliminated the wording to say that we're listing the districts in the order of the most restrictive to the least restrictive. So, it's really just a cleanup type of resolution to get the code current with what existing zoning use districts we have on the books.
Alright, if anybody would like to come up and address the board on this, public hearing?
Hi, Ellen Klein, Riverhead. I understand that the reordering of the districts is just, clarification on the part of the zoning board, zoning, chapter. My concern is twofold, is one, that by reordering the system to bring it in code with the, in line with the table of contents, which is basically what you're doing, I assume.
Yes.
It makes it a little more confusing for people who are trying to figure out what carries more weight than another district. So I think that you're exchanging one confusion for another confusion. And that in trying to develop something and trying to figure out what zoning you're allowed to do, now you have to sift through the articles altogether to figure out which ones carry more weight than others. My other concern is that while it is just, a cleanup, deleting the portion that says, and to list the districts in the order of most restrictive to least restrictive, could leave the town open for court interpretation if it ever comes down to a judge having discretion. They could look at it and then say, well, since you didn't have that part and you took it out, therefore none of the districts have weight over any other district. And that's my only concern here.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Any other comments? Any comments from the floor? Seeing nobody else, I will close the public hearing, but leave it open for written comment until January 25th. At this time, we will move on to our second public hearing, which was to begin at 6:10. It is now 6:13, and this is to amend chapter 217 entitled Buildings, Building Construction, and Improvements in Housing Standards for the Riverhead Town Code. Bob, I will turn this over to you again, if you'd like to.
Yeah, a little while back, we, added to chapter 217 a blighted property, code. We've, now had it on the books for a little while, and as we're doing so, we realized that, a few things may need a little bit of a modification. The first thing that's being done here is we're amending, 217, 110 blighted property designation to add some additional wording to subsection A thereof, so that, we're making reference to the International Property Maintenance Code, and where any of the conditions set forth in that chapter are present and put the building in a dangerous type of establishment under that code, we're changing the designation from 50 points to 75 points. The other two changes changes are there's additions, subsections F and G, that essentially deal with, properties that have been neglected for an extended period of time. Subsection F will add a, points designation of 50 points where normal construction of any building or structure has been stopped for more than 2 years. And subsection D will also add 50 points to a designation where a structure or building has been boarded for more than 1 year.
G.
Unless it's been, approved by a building code official. So that's the changes.
Is there anybody that would like to address the board at this public hearing?
Any comment from the board?
Well, I just wanna say that I'm pleased with the way the blighted properties, code amendment is going. The code enforcement told me that they're utilizing this a lot, and, because we got good feedback from our code enforcement officers, we were able to tweak it, and now we have, more tools to go after vacant properties. Moving along on it.
Any other comments? Seeing and hearing no one, I will close that, public hearing, but close the public hearing, but leave it open for public comment until January 25th. At this time, we will move on to our third public hearing, which is to take place at 6:15. I think this is the closest we've ever actually been.
Yeah, you better go slow on this one.
Roll
Yes,
it.
stretch
I'll
it.
talk slow. Was to open at 6:15, it is now 6:16, and this is to amend chapter 301 entitled Zoning and Land Development of the Riverhead Town Code. Bob, do you wanna comment on this?
Actually, I'll introduce it, because I had brought it to code revision asking that, seeing as solar panels seem to be a big thing that's coming to Riverhead because of our land and our close connectivity to the transformer stations, that we shouldn't allow hundreds of acres of trees to be cleared in order to place these solar panels. So I asked the code revision committee to look at it, and, it was a little bit of a back and forth, but they agreed and the legislation was put forth, and we're here for a public hearing.
At this time, if there's anybody from the public that would like to come up and comment on this public hearing?
So, my name is Richard Amper. I'm Executive Director of the Long Island Pine Barren Society at 547 East Main Street here in Riverhead. First of all, Happy New Year. Second of all, we'll be particularly happy because this may
Nice
be
card.
Say again?
Nice card.
Thank you very much. It's the trees, you see, that make they don't object to being cut down if they are put to good use, you know what I mean? Besides saying Happy New Year, I'd like to say that this is a remarkable beginning of the new year, because I've come here to praise the town and be 100% supportive. The Pine Barren Society applauds the town of Riverhead's efforts to safeguard its woodlands through the amendment of the town code. The statutory language that has been proposed will make certain that both solar and woodlands, both instrumental for a clean and healthy environment, will not be pitted against one another. We don't want to play one against the other. We need both. The Society is not an energy organization, but rather has been concerned about a recent trend on Long Island that has seen the sacrifice of woodlands for the construction of solar farms. The Society supports all solar power efforts that are appropriately sited on previously cleared land, rooftops, parking lots, all of which are slated tonight. January 15th requires, by approving this amendment, the town of Riverhead will join the ranks of Brookhaven and Southold in showing dual commitment to protecting the environment and responsibly securing our clean energy needs at the same time. We get both. This is also being taken up simultaneously by the Southampton Town Board and the East Hampton Town Board, and Riverhead is way ahead of the game here. The Society has long been concerned about the matter, as we've observed the false choice that asks Long Islanders to effectively destroy the environment in order to save it. However, the peak of the Society's unease came last March when 60 acres of woodland were cleared in Mastic in preparation for a solar farm pictured on the information that we've just put in front of you. Since that time, the Society has been actively supportive of action by municipal government to prevent this disaster from happening again. The amendment under consideration by the town of Riverhead should therefore be viewed positively as a means of averting an environmental tragedy in the vein of the mastic clearing from happening in Riverhead town. The proposed amendment represents the best hope for stopping the senseless destruction of woodlands and wildlife, flora, and habitats that reside there. So the short version of the story is we can have both. There is an unlimited number of places. We have urged everybody in the solar community to identify all the best places to put them. You people know this town better than anybody else, so you know where they belong in Riverhead, and we don't need to sacrifice woodlands and the groundwater beneath those woodlands. We can have both. So this is one of the things where there's a win-win and not a you choose this side or choose that side. This is something where you can do the right thing, and by the way, be ahead of a couple other towns in doing it. So thank you very much for hearing from me, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very happy to put this proposal forward, and I think I should also just note that we've cited several solar projects already here, in the town of Riverhead, and as we move forward with the solar projects, we will actually be citing, a majority of the solar project on Long Island, here in the town of Riverhead, so we are leading the island in renewable energies, and we have not taken down trees to be able to do that, so we're very proud to sit up here and be part of that as part of the town of Riverhead.
I'm gonna chime in, I'm very pleased with this initiative. Anytime we can save trees, it's a good thing, and this is a win-win.
And I'm happy to say that we agree, so it's a good start to a great year. And,
For that purpose, if only that purpose.
exactly.
Very astute.
And it took a year to get here, but we're finally here, and I'm glad that it's finally up for a public hearing, and I'm glad that the town board is entertaining it, and we'll be hopefully ready for a vote.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to come up and comment? Seeing nobody, and anything else from the board? Seeing nothing, I will close this, the public hearing, but leave it open for public comment until January 25th. At this time, we will move on to what was to be scheduled as the fourth public hearing. We have this in here as a note that this has been canceled and will be rescheduled for February 5th. There was some errors in the public notification as to the address, so it is being republished for posting for the public hearing, and as I said, that will take place on February 5th.
That throws our time off, you might as well go to the
No, we're good, we have, oh yeah, I got 3 minutes. All right, I'll talk really slow.
Get Sal.
No, let's keep moving. Well, do I have to wait the 3 minutes to announce this? Yeah. So at this time, while I wait for to be able to announce this public hearing, at this point, I will ask anybody who would like to come up and comment on any resolutions, that we have, set for today to come up and comment.
Sal Mastropolo, Calverton. Resolution 074.
Yes.
The memorandum of agreement states the pilot for the first year is $460,000, and it says that the pilot is for 15 years, but there's no mention of what the pilot is for years 2 through 15. And I
do
think it
not
should
believe-
state that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't believe that there is an escalator in that, but we do have, there was a community benefit, as part of the memorandum of
Yeah,
agreement.
that's in there, that's
Yeah,
clear, but
so-
the pilot is 15 years, and it only states the first year.
I think it's referenced, it's gonna be referenced as an exhibit.
Good on time?
It was 74.
Okay, where is it in the resolve, Bob, do you know? So it will be.
On 2 different pages.
Yep, no, I see that. I'm just looking for which letter is the pilot.
Well, the resolution itself, it just talks about this in a general fashion. It's the MOU which makes reference to it, and, we have a pilot that's starting out at 460 and then escalating.
Do we have the 3 separate agreements in here? I
And we
don't-
make reference to the 3, yes.
I know, but we don't have them written out as I don't have it, that's not an attachment. Oh, here it is, with the whereas here. And so it should be after that 460 and continuing for the 15-year pilot agreement? If we do that in the in the MOU, the, second whereas from the bottom,
I
right?
indicate in the first tax year, it shall be 460.
Right, I guess,
In that whereas, so,
do we wanna do for the whole agreement?
well, the whole agreement's like 30 pages, so if I recite the whole agreement, I mean, I could either,
Whereas under the said 15-year pilot agreement,
well,
as per the town agreed that.
I indicate in the whereas above that the terms and conditions of the pilot are deemed incorporated and made to be a part hereof, so whatever those terms are.
Okay, for the
they're
whole,
part
for the
of
whole
the-
MOU?
Again, this MOU is just a general blanket statement of what the parties have agreed to. Each of the separate agreements will be executed by the parties. The easement has been signed, the pilot is still being wrangled with a little bit, that's going to be signed. And then ultimately, the community benefits agreement will need to be negotiated and signed. But to lock in where the parties were as far as numbers, it was agreed that this MOU would be agreed to in the interim. So the pilot is made by reference in all the terms and conditions, which include the start year and the entire 15 years with the escalator will be its own separate agreement, which is incorporated. So I'm not sure if that helps, but I didn't know how to incorporate it into this 1 2-page document without.
Even if you just add the statement, years 2 through 15 have an escalator. Just so that it's complete that years 2 through 15 have a pilot and it's an escalator over the first payment.
Okay.
But the pilot payment isn't for the easement, the pilot payment is for
No,
something
This
else.
it makes
is
reference to all
all
three.
three, yeah.
It makes reference to the community benefits agreement, the easement, which is 450, and the pilot, which starts out at 460. So, I mean, if you want to add, after the whereas,
It's up to you, Bob,
words.
whatever you feel, where this,
I mean, I could,
do you wanna
Put
wait
it-
till we get to it at the end?
yeah, I'll try to put some wording in there.
Okay. We're gonna address it when we get to the resolution, if you need to come back and comment at that point, that's fine also, let's just. So at this time, I am going to open the last of the public hearings, which was set to begin at 6:25, it is now 6:26. And this is to consider a local law to amend the procurement policy pursuant to the general municipal law as follows. And this is just to meet New York State finance law effective January 1st, 2019, which requires bidders to have a written policy addressing sexual harassment prevention in the workplace and provide annual sexual harassment prevention training for all its employees. So that was just what was added into our procurement policy. So if there's anybody from the public that would like to come up and address the board or comment on this? See nobody, anybody from the board?
Saying nothing.
Not
No, but I did, I have been
saying
talking to a lot of people out there that say that,
On my space.
Megan's Law actually offers the class, so they'll come to us and they'll train all the employees, so I have all the information, and I hope to present it at a work session, so that they can come in and train the employees, so Megan's Law, Laura Ahern and her staff would come in and train the employees on sexual harassment.
We actually, with the OSHA training, they included that, they just had the training for this, so, but there are still some employees that need to be trained, so, very good.
Okay.
All right, so seeing nobody, I will close the public hearing on this, but leave it open for comment until January 25th. So at this point, we will move on to resolutions.
And I think there were other people that wanted to,
Is there anybody that wanted to come up and comment on any of the resolutions before we start? Okay, come on in, sorry.
Thank you. My name is Paulette Sherman, and I wrote a letter to the board, and I got a call that said that I could come up tonight and talk about it. And it's, number 3, the approval of a special permit in Aquabah.
Yes,
Okay, I pulled this up today, and
I'm just gonna clear, it's resolution, 219-45. It's 3 on the order, but it just has resolution.
okay, it says grants approval. Did you grant this, or?
We will be voting on it tonight, so if you would like to comment on it before we take it up for a vote, it would be appropriate.
Okay, please. I would just like to reiterate that I read about this in Newsday, and yes, it is a house on Route 25, but the concern when it was reported in Newsday was that it was about traffic. And I would like to just again reiterate that you're not going to get much traffic out of it. As I stated, that she has her practice about 8 hours a day. You have only 1 client a day. And she's also going to have an associate, so that would be maybe, 16. So it's not going to really impact, I think, the locality of between the farm stands and everything else, that they're not going to cause much traffic. And the other thing is I would like to really reinforce is that we really need a counseling centers and counselors in the community. I've been part of a lot of the mental health group people around here, and one thing you need are counselors. We are dire need in the East End, and you can't just wait till a month sometimes when you need help. And she will be able to facilitate this as well as her associate, and I just hope that we pass this.
And I would just like to say that the applicant, when she did come in, have represented that there would be 2 offices and they'd be occupying them at the same time. The applicant did come back because there was, concern, expressed by the community as the traffic flow in and out, and she has, agreed to just have 1 practitioner there at a time, servicing clients to reduce the traffic flow in and out of the space.
Great, great. So it's a meeting of the minds then?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
No pun intended. Yeah, true. I'm with you.
Oh, come back to you, Jim.
Oh, I love it. Hey, let's go.
All right, we will start with resolutions then. Jim,
Okay, sure. Resolution 43.
43 ratifies an execution of an MOU with the Riverhead Town Police Benevolent Association. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 44.
Ratifies the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the Town of Riverhead and the Civil Service Employees Association Incorporated, Local 1000, AFS-CME, AFL-CIO, Riverhead Unit of the Suffolk Local Number 852, Riverhead Town Police Benevolent Association, and Riverhead Town Superior Officers Association Incorporated. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 45.
Grant approval of the special permit application of Masson Residence Office Conversion, 918 Main Road, Aquabog, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-67-3-15.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yeah, I just wanna say that the applicant did come back after the public hearing and addressed some of the comments and concerns. We did receive letters that there were several accidents in front of the place where this psychological office is going. I did ask the chief for a report of that. We did get the report, and it appears that the accidents, although there are a few of them, seem minimal, and they seem mostly during the summer months and into the fall, when is the busiest time on 25, and we seem to have a lot of summer traffic and pumpkin pickers and what have you. So I think that the mitigation, as well, I requested that they put a 15-foot buffer adjacent to the residential uses so that you wouldn't, be seeing all the traffic coming in or out, or people walking into the back, and there would still be privacy for the residential property owners. I also requested 1 curb cut so that it would be 1 way in and 1 way out. And that's what is being proposed also. So they've managed to work the site to where there's only 1 curb cut for the entire piece. So for all those reasons stated, and for the applicant working with us, I will vote yes.
I just believe, I think it's 10 foot buffers, just so I think that's what was,
Okay.
you're okay with that?
He said that he was gonna try and get as much buffer space as he could.
It's not,
in there?
I think it's in the variance, it's not in the resolution.
Okay.
Do you need it clarified, or you're okay?
No, I'm
Okay.
okay with it, as long as there's a buffer there. I mean, I just
Okay,
wanted something other than just a driveway abutting a residential property.
okay, very good.
okay, we're up to Wooten,
I just think taking these houses along that corridor and refurbishing them for this type of use is probably the best way to preserve that corridor. And I'm probably gonna be one of the first clients there, I'm sure, so I vote yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 46.
Authorizes attendance at Fire Marshal IAAI conference. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 47.
This authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice of public hearing to consider a proposed local law for amendments to chapter 255 entitled Parades, Assemblies, and Special Permits of the Riverhead Town Code. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 48.
Increase in refuse waste disposal contract, and so moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
When we renegotiated the garbage contract several years ago, we made it so that the carters would have to register with the town and they would have to register their tipping fees for the recyclables. So the town has built up a fund. It was a lot more than what it is because we've used it for various projects throughout the town. But fortunately, we have the money in the account to offset the increase that every municipality in Long Island is dealing with when it comes to getting rid of household waste and getting rid of yard waste and getting rid of recyclables. So I'm happy that we had the money in the account and that the taxpayers are not getting a hit and the town is not getting a hit out of the general fund because the money has been built up in reserves. But going forward, when we renegotiate the garbage contract, it's getting a lot more expensive to get rid of the garbage. So whereas we were paying $500 a year per unit in taxes, we got that reduced down to about $250 a year, and we've benefited for that for the last 5 years. But unfortunately, when we renegotiate the garbage contract next year, the rates are going to go up as we face this garbage crisis. So for now, the contractor needs to get paid, and the supervisor and I did attend a meeting at the town of Brookhaven to try and get a lower rate from the town of Brookhaven, where we're currently bringing our household waste to. The recyclables are still going to Islip, but they had to charge us what they're charging other municipalities to bring their waste there, and those contracts were already accounted for, and the town of Brookhaven had already budgeted for and made room for our household waste. So it was a great job done by the supervisor and the staff and the engineering department and the town attorney's office, and myself being liaison to sanitation, and hopefully we'll get this squared away for next year. So when you see your garbage tax go up next year, you'll know why, and I'll vote yes.
Wooten,
Well, I can tell you, I'm glad we had the reserve to fill in the plug this year. Next year, we're looking at the numbers, it's not phenomenal, $20 or $30 a year per house, so it's not like it's, you know, 2 Sunday papers will probably pay for it, so. Yes on the movement, I vote yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 49.
That's you, boss.
Authorize amendment to contract between the town of Riverhead and European American Waste Disposal Corp. for residential solid waste collection and disposal services for the Riverhead Reuse and Garbage District.
Seconded?
Refuse, I'm sorry. Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 50.
Approves agreement with RC Systems Incorporated for purchase, support, and maintenance of RecPro software. So moved.
Oh, a second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 51.
Getting there. 51 authorizes attendance at the Government Finance Officers Association Annual Conference. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 50.
This is 51, we just have to correct the conference, the spelling,
Oh, right.
is that okay?
Okay, yes. I will.
So do I have to re-vote it as amended?
Yes.
Okay, it's just this
Yeah, right, okay,
Surprised I didn't see that when I was reading it.
I know.
okay, we'll fix
Glad I
that.
didn't.
All
I
right,
know.
we'll move on to 52.
Sewer District Capital Project number 20049, budget adjustment. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 53.
I think we can take resolution 53, 54, and 55 together, if that is okay with the board. So can I have a first and second to approve, reappoints members to the Riverhead, Farmland
See
Preservation
who they are
Committee?
first. Okay. Yes, I make a motion that we,
We can just do the resolution, we don't have to, do a motion to bring them together.
okay. So move.
Second?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
So you know we're reappointing Richard Wines, Rodney Anderson, and Charlie Shear to the Agricultural, or the Farmland Preservation Committee. So I'll vote yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolutions 53, 54, and 55 are adopted. Resolution 56.
Accepts the retirement of a senior administrative assistant. So moved.
Seconded? Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
I wanna, wish Lisa Salazzo the best. She's been a great employee and we'll miss her here in Riverhead. I vote yes.
Giglio,
Yes, she has been a great employee, and, her services will be missed. She's spent, it seems like a lifetime here at the town of Riverhead and talking to her, but she's enjoyed every bit of it and working with who she's worked with, and they're gonna be tough shoes to fill, but I'm sure that we'll find somebody, so congratulations to Lisa and her family, and I'll vote yes.
okay, Wooten,
Yeah, I'll give kudos to that. I remember when Lisa was hired, actually, so that was many years ago. Wish her best of luck, she deserves it. Yes.
Jen Smith.
And just thank you to Lisa for her over 30 years of dedicated service. She'll be missed in the town, but yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 57.
Annual review and adoption of investment policy for the town of Riverhead.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes,
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Glad they went with a bigger font for that, that's pretty good.
58, Resolution 58.
Authorizes renewal of license agreement. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
yes,
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 59.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with Long Island Telecommunications and Electronic Services. So moved.
second,
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
yes,
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 60.
authorizes execution of a professional services agreement with Municipal CMS LLC. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes,
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 61.
Awards bid, non pro tunc for used or refurbished postage machine.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
yes,
Wooten,
Used machine, really? Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 62.
Accepts the retirement of a detective. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
And I wish my classmate Dixon Palmer well. He's been, given a lot to the town of Riverhead, and, hope he enjoys his retirement. Yes.
Giglio,
yeah, Dixon's been a pleasure to work with for the past 9 years as the president of the Riverhead PBA, and he'll be missed. So I wish whoever's coming in to take over that position luck, and look forward to working with them, and wish Dixon and his family a happy future. Yes,
Wooten,
Yeah, Dixon was a good man. We worked, he was my vice president, I was his president, vice versa. We swapped that PBA for quite a few years. And we also worked together, in street crime with the plain clothes back in the early 90s when it was really shaking here, so. He deserves it. He's a good run for 33 years, I guess.
33, yep.
So I vote yes.
Jen Smith.
And I just have to say, in this past year, working with Dixon as in the PBA and negotiating through our contracts, it's been a pleasure, and I wish him, the best of luck in his retirement. So, yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 63.
This accepts the retirement of a police officer. So moved.
second,
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
And I wish Carrie well. I believe she's had 25 years, correct?
25 years, yep.
Yes.
Giglio,
Officer Davis, signing out. Good luck to you, congratulations, yes.
Wooten,
Yes, yes, yes.
Jen Smith.
And the best of luck to, Carrie. This is, we have 3 people that are retiring with, close to 75 years of service to our community. So, we appreciate everything they've done for us, and best of luck to Carrie. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 64.
2018 bond service payment allocation, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes,
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 65.
Approves execution of a professional service agreement with Granicus for the fiscal year 2019.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
And I'm really liking this program, so I wanna thank our town clerk for introducing it to us and for bringing this company in, and, we're getting into the 20th century, so save some paper and some trees, yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 66.
Approves professional services agreement with Business Automation Services Incorporated for a clerk licensing systems, dog licensing module, and for ongoing support of BAS software modules, integrated property system, or IPS, tax collection, building, zoning, and workflow. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Another resolution that I worked long and hard on in updating our computer systems, from, I think the last time we had done it was like 1979 or something like that, so it was a really long time ago, and it was all done in modules so that we could add components on as we could afford them. And I think this is, one of the final steps, cause I see the workflow in there, so, thank you to everybody for working with us and for all the employees on picking this system. It's a great system, it's working well for the town, yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 67.
This approves settlement of claim with John Rubinow. So moved.
Second,
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 68.
Establishes settlement authority to Office of Town Attorney regarding claims made against the town of Riverhead. So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 69.
Authorization to publish advertisement for fertilizer and lawn chemicals.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 70.
Authorizes annual license with Pictometry International Corporation, 50 users. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 71.
This ratifies the increase to the salary of the deputy tax receiver. So moved.
Second,
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 72.
We're going to be withdrawing this resolution, and then I'll be pulling a resolution off the floor to replace it. So, I make a motion to withdraw resolution number 72. So
I'll
moved.
second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution 72 is withdrawn. Resolution 73.
Awards bid for census water meters and accessories or reasonable equivalent, repair to meter reading equipment for the Riverhead Water District.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 74.
Let's just,
Yeah,
Bob, did you wanna?
I've been thinking about it, because they've already signed the MOU. Solar Power, Riverhead Solar Farm LLC. I understand, Sal's comments, the pilot agreement does provide for a escalator, and the resolution itself says that you are authorized to sign as substantially the form attached. I would need to, see whether Riverhead, Solar Farm is, prepared to accept a small amendment, and what I would propose is that the MOU add the wording that, with annual payments, with annual, escalated payments, at the whereas and then in the, resolved cost, but it's been signed already, so there's no problem, they would have to consent to further change.
But the MOU reflects the escalator, right?
The MOU states that it's a pilot, the terms and conditions will be fully incorporated into this MOU. So whatever the pilot is, the terms and conditions are deemed incorporated into this document. So the escalator is deemed incorporated
So this is a memorandum of understanding as we move forward with the other documents.
to get the community benefits agreement done.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
okay with going through, doing this as it's written.
Okay.
I feel confident that the way it's written will incorporate the other agreements. that have the pilot escalation in it, and this is just a memorandum of understanding.
Correct.
This is not the final document for the pilot.
For the community benefits,
But-
and it does not alter the pilot. The pilot's gonna be executed and will
As a
stand on
separate
its own.
agreement, as a
That's correct.
separate agreement,
That's correct.
so, okay.
It's, what this is doing is just looking to make it clear that there are 3 separate agreements that are being signed by the parties as a result of their project being approved. One is a community benefits agreement, which is going to be for the sum of $1,050,000, an easement of $450,000, and then the pilot, which begins at the amount of $460 with
For
escalators.
year one, with
Right,
escalators,
right.
okay.
Okay.
Was there any comments for the, giving opportunity? No, okay. All right, so can Catherine, would you like to read this off, and then we can get a first and second and vote on it if everybody's comfortable?
Approves memorandum of understanding between Riverhead Solar Farm LLC and the town of Riverhead. Community benefit, utility easement, and payment in lieu of taxes. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Recuse.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes, absolutely, I think that this is a good agreement for the town. I'm happy to see, solar, placed here. I'm happy to see that it is being sited in an industrial area, and there is a bit of a community offset to help, offset, the industrial, benefits of that property there with a community benefit agreement, so yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 75.
75 is a motion to pay the bills. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
And I'd like to pull resolution number 2019-76 off the floor, which authorizes the retention of a consultant to act as an expert and to analyze sound noise emitted from premises located at 1615 Old Country Road, Riverhead, New York. This came to the supervisor, my attention in, the latter part of last summer, the fall, August or September, that the Glenwood Village residents that are close to Peapod were being impacted by the noises. So when we discussed it, and they were aware of the fact that we were bringing a resolution forward to start litigation, they sent over a noise analysis that evening, and they've had 2 meetings since to try and remedy the noise factor so that the residents' quality of life is not impacted. So this resolution, I spoke to the supervisor today, and we compromised in removing the litigation aspect of this resolution, but authorizing the hiring of a noise expert on behalf of the town of Riverhead to examine the noise and to figure out a way to mitigate it. So the only thing that in this resolution that we are going to amend is in the now therefore be it resolved, where it states that the town board of the town of Riverhead being hereby authorizes the retention of acoustical consulting and engineering company to serve as an expert by the town attorney should be struck, and it should continue to read for the town of Riverhead. So that's the only amendment, is that we are going to strike by the town attorney. And I'll make a motion that we move this resolution forward.
Did we make a motion to take it off?
Oh, to take it off the floor, yes, so to take it off the
Yeah,
floor.
Can we do it, double to take it off the floor and move it forward? You can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, cause I mean, right.
So-
I'll
so-
second all of everything she said.
Okay, so,
All of
we
the
have a
above.
motion to take, resolution 76 off the floor and to move it forward. So I have a
As
first.
amended.
As amended, I have a first and second, vote please.
Kent,
Yes, to take it off the floor and vote for it as amended.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution 76 is taken off the floor and adopted.
All right,
Excellent.
that is all our resolutions for this evening. At this point, I ask anybody from the, community or who would like to come up and address the board on any items to please come forward.
John McAuliffe from Riverhead, from Rolling Woods, and speaking on behalf of the Coalition Against EPCAL Housing. If you read the op-ed that was published in the News Review this week, keeping watch on that fine EPCAL land, you will see that in fact the coalition is laying itself down, to use a Quaker term, and proposes to create an EPCAL watch that will pay attention, will hopefully broaden the involvement both of individuals and of organizations that are concerned about a whole bunch of aspects of the EPCAL arrangement as it goes forward. I'm not going to read it. I will submit electronically the full text so it can go into the record. But I would point out a couple of things that, as we were putting it together, came up and may or may not be feasible within arrangements, but the concern, as everyone knows, that we've had since the beginning is the insertion of the 1,000 acres of non-developable land and what happens to them. And we have heard that there is a concept that is known as privately owned public space. And if that concept can be applied to that land, no doubt in discussion, in the final contract discussion, that land be protected as accessible to the public in Riverhead, since it is supposed to not be developable. So we leave that as a question to be monitored in the future. The other points, as I say, they're familiar things about where we hope the land will actually, how it will be used, including that it not be resold or in entirety or broken into parcels, and it not be repurposed for other than the intended aviation, science, and technology. We also, members of the committee, as we were in the drafting process, brought up a question that frankly none of us understand very well, and we trust that the town authorities are understanding what the implications are of the new IRS Opportunity Zone that just was in the last humongous tax bill, which one can have one's own opinion about, but that federal tax bill created what in principle sounds very good as a vehicle to spur economic development, but since part of it is providing tax benefits to investors, we trust that as this goes forward, that there will be attention to the fact that money is being brought in because of its developmental aspect and not as a tax write-off.
Just so you know, the Opportunity Zone is not something that is granted by the town.
It's by the federal, yeah.
Well, it's designated, you know, by the federal, then there are zones that are nominated by the state and then accepted, but the tax credits that are realized through the Opportunity Zone is self-reported by the individual or corporation.
Right.
So it wouldn't be something that is granted by the town, just by
Right.
the nature of being in an Opportunity Zone, one can take advantage of that tax credit.
Right, but again, our question is that people are paying attention to what the implications may be about the kinds of money that are coming in and how they're actually used, and it's more a question than a definite opinion. We do ask one thing of the supervisor or the supervisor and the board, because of the large, really decisive character of the use of this land, that we hope that some kind of an official and broadly representative citizens commission could be created that would be responsible for looking in a more official way at the nitty-gritty of the development and rollout and all of the various questions that may be coming back to the board and the CDA, and that such a commission very clearly would supplement, it would not supplant the responsibility of the CDA and the board, but that it would be taking account of both the history of controversy within the town and the implications of decisions as they go forward. And that this commission, among other things, would be able, if in its judgment, there was some major flaw taking place, would be able to bring that back to the board and the CDA and ask that you address it. So at any rate, I think, again, and as Richard Amper, who was one of the signers were Farr, DeLuca, Amper, and Haubner for the coalition and for the three major environmental organizations in the town. But in the spirit of what Richard said of a new year and new beginnings, we wanted to clarify to people where we were on this and the transition of our own efforts and hopefully a broadening of those efforts, but also to ask that the town find a way to officially create a commission to monitor and be involved in the developments over the next, at least over the next couple of years and presumably longer.
And just a little clarification, the land, it will be subdivided, that's part of the contract moving forward. It'll be divided into 8 lots, that's part of the contract to turn certain parcels over as the 1,643 acres. Some of the parcels are divided out, which remain with the CDA, and some of them with the Navy, but it will get divided into large parcels, they are, but it is subdivided into parcels prior to the sale.
I think our concern is not subdivision per se, but that subdivision led to pieces of it being sold off to other parties, and somehow we're concerned
They do
that
have the ability to do that.
They do have the ability to do that. I don't know if there's any way that the town can have influence over that question, presumably by zoning, or maybe not, maybe you can't do anything on zoning for 5 years. And I don't know how that affects this resolution you adopted earlier on solar.
Well, yeah, they haven't presented anything to us at this point. You know, the lot is for an 8-lot subdivision, for sale to go through with that. They are in the process of doing their due diligence. Once they finish with that, the town has to commence getting their 8-lot subdivision approved by our planning board, as well as DEC approval and Suffolk County Department of Health approval. At that point, when we have all of that done, then we will go to closing on the contract.
And is it your expectation that things will in fact move within the original due diligence period, or that there will likely be an extension? Which they have the option to.
I'm not gonna second guess them. They have 90 days as per the contract, and they can ask for another 90-day extension. Whether they'll avail themselves of that or not, I can't say till, you know, they haven't informed us one way or the other whether they would be extending it at this
And
point.
do you happen to know when the first 90 days runs
I
out?
believe it's
February 16th,
So,
the middle of February.
yeah.
yeah, any rate, we'll
Yeah.
know relatively soon
Exactly.
what okay, and in any case, they have the option to do it, so
Correct.
it's simply okay.
Correct.
Any rate, thank you very much, and I agree with Richard that hopefully in the new year we'll find ways to work very positively together to ensure that the land gets used for the benefit of all the people in the town.
Hope so too.
I'm slow, but I'm getting there.
All right.
Hi, this is gonna be a little show and tell. I'm Susan Reeve, and I'm from Sound Avenue in Riverhead. Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm here to ask the town board, beg you guys to please consider getting rid of plastic straws and Mylar balloons, and anybody who lets balloons go. I know it's a big thing to send your messages up to heaven. I'm sorry, it gets caught in the trees. It gets caught, blown down the beaches. It gets wrapped around birds' legs. Animals are eating it and dying. I grew up here. I'm related to all the first settlers. We're all related around here. Anybody before 1900's related. My cousins. Seriously. I'm begging you, please stop this. Stop this. Put your foot in. Join East Hampton and South Hold. Ban this stuff. excuse me, I stopped the other day to pick this up, and all this was under it. This is from Connecticut. It's an old pen from Connecticut. I have seen things from Connecticut that have blown over. It's not Riverhead and Suffolk County, but if you add in your voice and say, this crap's gotta stop, excuse me, I almost said a bad word there. Don't get that on film. I have pictures, I couldn't get my computer to print it out. It's unbelievable.
I
I
know,
went down
yeah.
there February 14th of last year on Reeves Beach, and I picked up over 50 balloons. Last week I was down there. There is down by the, if you're heading west on Reeves Beach, you know Reeves Beach, obviously. You know where the Boy Scout camp is? The person to the east of that has a big, I forget what you call it, to look off at the sound, and it's rotting and it's falling down. They've got a huge black pipe that isn't connected to anything that has rolled down. I believe it's Mark Terry's, but I'm not sure.
They've got a whole house falling down the cliff.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's doing anything about
Well,
this stuff.
I think that, I absolutely agree with your concerns. I've done many beach cleanups and I'm well aware of all of the stuff that you find out there just going on a short stroll, you know? So, you know, I applaud everyone that goes out there and assists and helps clean it up. But that being said, we can't just sit by the side and not do anything either. So we've recently advertised for an environmental committee, and the environmental committee will be bringing resolutions forward to do things like this and to assess what's going on, not only in our community or in other communities that's successful to bring back to our town, so that we can also be sensitive to the changes that are happening in our environment that we're causing. Also things that are happening outside of our community that we may be able to participate in and help prevent here, not just for our town, but for all of Long Island. So I think that we're moving forward on this, and you know, I applaud you coming in to share that with us, because I think the more people are aware of the trash that's out there, and you know, you do let the balloons go, or people can let the balloons go, or they get straws when they're drinking, and you know, sometimes it's just a little bit of changes that you need to make that really have a big impact. So, you know, that's what we're doing at this point, and we'll continue to do that, and I appreciate you coming to share that.
Until you start banning things, people aren't gonna change. They just are not going to.
Well, people, I have to agree with you. I'm glad you came. You made some really good points. And actually, people are adjusting to the bags.
Well, yeah, I went to the legislature and spoke to get rid of them.
And I'm right down the beach from Reeves, and I find those balloons on the beach tangled up in the seaweed all the time. So I agree with you.
Hanging from,
It can be done, it's just a matter of training.
it's a deck. I couldn't remember the word deck. There's a deck that is starting to get ready to come down the beach. On the Roanoke side, there are washed out steps, and nobody cleans any of that up. All these big logs are
We're gonna do a shameless plug here for Jim Wooten's anti-litter
Yeah,
committee,
well,
so.
actually, the anti-litter is having their big thing on May 4th as far as the town-wide thing. We got a lot of people interested already, but we also coordinate with the beach permit people, and they do the beach at the same time that we do the town. So we get dumpsters up at Reeves, and we get dumpsters up at,
I know what you do because I've done them.
And they
I
call
do
the
this
beach.
every time I go on the beach. I drive.
And a
I
lot of
have
people do
bad
that.
knees. I've got to go for another surgery, I think.
almost everybody I know that has a four-wheel drive or 4x4 permit, they bring back more stuff
Exactly.
than they do it.
If you see me riding around a little silver Jeep with the big black box on the front, it's not on there now, but you've probably saw me this past summer riding around with the Bernie stickers on. That's me. I go down to the beach
That's
and
you,
I
knew that.
pile stuff into that big black box. I've had things on the hood. I've had them hanging off of the tire on the back. Big pieces of plastic. There's plastic sheeting on the beaches. There's so much garbage. And then you have somebody down west of Reeves Beach that I won't mention who he is, that has these metal stakes and a line so nobody goes on his beach. Reeves Beach also had their snow fencing along the bottom of the cliff washed out. they haven't picked up the metal stakes from Sandy yet, 'cause I put them next to the rock, and they're still there. So, who's gonna do what? And I've talked to Eric a couple of times about it. And he says, well, we hired somebody to put them in, and I guess we'll have to find somebody to pick them up. It's still there.
All right, we're having a civics meeting, we can address it at the
Thank
civics
you.
meeting, and ask if they can
Thank
take a
you
look
for
at it.
paying attention
Thank
to
you.
me.
Thank you.
Sal Mastropolo, Calverton. Just a clarification on EBCAL. The subdivision is for 8 lots. The buyer can sell one of the lots, right? Resell. But he can't sell off a piece of one of the lots unless he goes through a formal subdivision, right?
Oh, correct, yes.
Now, have we put anything in the contract as to whether he can further subdivide one of the 8 lots, one or more of the 8 lots?
I believe, we don't have our attorney here that represents us for the CDA, but yes, I believe that they can subdivide it, but they would still have to go, we're selling the large lots to them. If they wanna further subdivide it, then they need to come back to the town, request that subdivision, whether, what process that would have to go through at that point, it depends what they're presenting. So they can do that, but it does go through the normal process.
Okay, thank you.
And it would require public hearings where those comments would be appropriate, where the planning board or the town board, whoever's reviewing it, can say no further subdivision unless you come back to that board.
Any comments from anybody else?
Alright, mine's not quite as controversial. I just wanted to address the board, I live in the Willow Ponds development off Sound Avenue. The population of deer seems to be increasing every year. And on any given weekend, I can look out of my window and see anywhere from 5 to 10 deer. In the woods behind the development because they're all preserved. The other day, actually just yesterday, I had to come to a screeching stop in the middle of Sound Avenue as a deer crossed the road to go play golf. Since I work in Islandia, I get you home usually after dark or at dusk every day of the week except for in the summer. And it is that time that I have to be the most vigilant because that's when they're the most active in crossing the roads. I have noticed the scarcity of signage along Sound Avenue about deer crossings. And that goes for the entire length of Sound Avenue, from one end to the other end of the town. There are signs, but I feel there could and should be more. During the tourist season, we're getting tourists from the city who we admit barely can drive on a regular basis, let alone know what a deer is and its willingness to cross a busy road. On any given day going to work or from work, I can pass 3 dead deer just on the stretch from Willow Pond to Osborne where it meets Mill Road.
I know, one was mine, I think.
I saw one take a nosedive one day, right in front of me. I think it will save a lot of people harm, save the town some money, and not having to do carcass cleanup and having to respond to accidents. If we can just make people more aware of the amount of deer that are going on, and I think putting more signage up could help in that.
Okay.
You don't think people are aware that they're gonna face?
Not when you're coming from Queens.
I don't know. I see them on the expressway, I see them on the Sunrise.
I'm in Islandia, and people are just now starting to realize that there are deer on Long
If the
Island.
deers would only cross where we say deer crossings, that would be awesome.
I know, we should put them in less busy areas.
I do think a sign tends to make you more vigilant.
Yeah, I would agree.
Just that they cross everywhere, that's what's hard
They
about
do
it.
cross, but I think if you have more of them, people will be aware that, yes, there are deer in the area.
Okay, take a look
you.
at that, thank you. Anybody else who would like to address the board? Seeing nobody, can I have a first and second to close the meeting?
I'll move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Diane, I got your book with the notes in it.
Oh, excellent.